Morning.
Morning.
So here's got a number here, a figure, 1,500. That's the number of apps released, or that will be released today. 10,500. This is the number of apps that will be released this week alone. 45,000 apps are scheduled to be released this month. It's a pretty staggering stat. And you'd think the number of apps downloaded per user per month is pretty high. It's actually 0.5, or half an app per month. We see this as a problem. My name is Charlie Hinojosa. I'm the co-founder, CEO of Tapp That App. After years of running a digital marketing company, we discovered that we were helping other startups, mainly app developers, that the traction they really were looking for, they weren't getting out of flashy campaigns, and it was really through word of mouth. So what is Tapp That App? We're a socially driven app marketplace. And based on our experience, we created a platform around the simple task of asking your friends which apps they love. So how does it work? Oops. So what we've done is we've combined the use of the Google Play Store in this version with a couple of social networks here. Basically what that allows us to do is create a social layer on an app marketplace, really making it a lot more robust. You'll see here grayed out that there's also other marketplaces that are in the horizon and also other social integration. This is what our onboarding looks like. Once you're authenticated, a list of friends pop up just like they would on any other social platform. For example, Shin Lim here, start following here. You'll see other users, and also you'll notice some verified users. So we've been able to verify certain users based off their social profiles. And this is the fun part. So Tapp That App scrubs your device for all the apps that you have installed. And what this allows you to do is curate a list of the apps you love simply by giving them a love tap there. And only the apps that you tap are shared on your profile. So you can, you can ignore all the boring apps or your banking apps and whatnot. Once you're onboarded, we provide this really cool social experience, unlike what's out there now in any marketplace. Best analogy we use is if Instagram and the App Store had a baby. This is kind of what it would look like. Sorry. Our platform allows you to discover apps based on popularity. So you can see apps that are popular overall on the platform and also apps that are popular within your friends circle. So you can toggle between the two. And then also we've got a really cool nearby feature. So imagine seeing the apps of people that are around you, say at an event just like this one. Once you see an app you're interested in, you can click on it and an app profile page shows up, just like it would on a marketplace. The difference is that we've created more social experience. So you can actually interact with this app page the same way you would with any social post. You can also directly install it if you don't have the app. And you'll notice that the tap button is actually grayed out. So we don't allow you to actually like apps that you don't have installed. So you must install it before you can give it a heart. There's also other integrations like seeing what friends or people in your circle have already tapped it, and then there's comments, and you can also send the app to your friends directly, which is really cool. A lot like Instagram. Where things get really fun is when we start to introduce influencers into the platform. Imagine seeing the apps that are on LeBron James' phone. Casey Neistat, Gary Vee, DeMarcus Cousins. That would be interesting. And the cool part too is that it's not limited to simply a list. Once you click a user's profile, you'll get a list of apps that they've curated. But we've also integrated this really cool home screen-like feature where it's actually like holding a phone. So the users are allowed to create their own background. They're allowed to upload their own background. And this allows us to create a home screen-like experience where you can swipe through the phone and see the apps that they've curated. So our business model. The app's free for all users. Developers can sponsor ads on our platform. And also, we're looking at making Tapp That App a direct marketplace as the user base grows. So right now, we're relying on Google Play for the background downloads. We see over time as the platform grows that we can provide better incentives for developers to serve their app directly on our marketplace. And here's an example of what a sponsored app looks like. It's really unintrusive, and it's really native to the experience of the app. We're currently in a beta. Our MVP is up on the Google Play Store now. You can check it out if you've got an Android device. We just got accepted into our Precelerator program, which is an accelerator program out of a company called SAM in Santa Monica. We're one of 7 companies that were selected. We're in our first month of 6 months. We're really excited about that. And we're looking to release the version that I just demoed to you sometime in the fall. And as far as what we're doing currently throughout the process is we're seeking advisors, investors, startups, and influencers. We're currently bootstrapped as well. So what we've done is we've got several revenue models in the works.
Just ignore that.
But this chart really just shows the next 4 quarters of how we're expecting to make money on this platform. And right now, we're predicting is that for every 5,000 active users that we can keep on the platform, we're looking at about $10,000 in revenue simply on impressions. So we're really excited about that. The team is led by myself, Charlie Hinojosa, I'm the CEO, and also Nathan Thompson, our Chief Creative Officer, who's also our co-founder. And all the development work's been done by our CTO, David Zafrani, who's a tech expert out of Silicon Valley. And Elizabeth Sands has been primarily helping us with full stack, all the backend stuff. And that's Tapp That App. Thank you.
Charlie, the first thing we like to do is ask, how can this community help you?
So I would love to, one, is just to get to know people. Like I mentioned, we are bootstrapped, and while we are looking for investors and mentors and all that sort of thing, I think we're not in a big rush to raise money. Really, being that I'm located here in this area, in this county, I would love to connect with the community as a whole, the startup community. Just be more involved. I don't want to take this and, we are part of an accelerator in Los Angeles. I don't want to seclude myself to Silicon Valley or the LA startup scene. Really, this is my home, so I really want to connect here.
Great. All right, so we'll open it up to questions.
So, my name's Aaron.
Aaron?
Yeah. And I was wondering, since your app is a networked social, has that feature, one of your biggest challenges is probably it has more value the more users there are on it.
Sure.
Do you care sharing how you plan to, or do you have a strategy to get that initial base that creates the value for each new user?
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of the ironic thing, is that we're really a discovery platform at the core, but we need to be discovered first, right? So that is definitely a challenge. We've looked at different ways to, even with our current beta, it's been really expensive even just to get the first 1,000 users. We're looking at about $1 of acquisition cost, which is pretty high for us for a free platform that isn't advertising right now. So we're really relying on, so the 2 co-founders, myself and Nathan, we run an agency, a digital marketing agency. So we're really going to put a lot of effort into marketing on the back end with our own expertise, sweat equity, and then 2 is put some dollars behind potentially some influencer marketing. So we've got meetings lined up this summer with some sports agencies that are interested in. One of the reasons I chose, Cousins is because he's local, but also you'll see Matt Paradis here is an athlete that we're going to be speaking to his agents about potentially doing some sort of influencer marketing. And that's the basis of the platform, is that it becomes viral, right? So, a guy like Matt Paradis, you might not know, I'm a hardcore Denver Broncos fan, so I know my lineman. He, has, let's say a million users, and, we just have to do the math on that. What's the actual influence he has to get people to join the platform? It might be pretty high, so we're kind of going with that angle.
You mentioned influencer marketing. You should chat with a local guy named Greg Connell, who's the founder of Trifecta Systems. They've partnered with sports leagues, U.S. Olympics, big athletes like Uriah Faber to do influencer marketing. Have some awesome insights for you, probably.
That's great, thank you.
We can make that.
And we can make that happen.
That's awesome. Yeah, you'll notice again, the verification thing's going to be key for us. And as the platform grows, we're going to have to inject a lot of recommended users, because the chances are when people onboard, they're not going to find their friends. A lot like new platforms, like when, Meerkat is an example we use a lot, where people were joining, their friends really weren't there, but it gave us a lot of recommendations of like who we see as the value users, the power users. And then also, because it's Android, there's a really tight-knit Android community. We are going after them as well, and using other avenues like gaming as an angle, as a backdoor way in, and platforms like Product Hunt that are out there to also get some of those users.
So you mentioned it's Android. What will it take, or when are you thinking about going iOS or iPhone?
Right. So that's probably the number one question we get asked, is why Android and why not iOS? And the biggest reason is because about a year and a half ago when we started building this, Apple changed their policy literally as we were building it. And basically the core of what that policy says is that, and this is something they added in, by the way, as an amendment, and they basically said any app that emulates App Store function is going to get rejected. So you may actually get, and there was a lot of so-called faux, competitors out there that were doing something similar around discovery, and a lot of them were under the radar for a long time, and we just didn't want to have the backbone of our business rest on possibly being rejected. So we decided to double down on Android, which does not have those, basically those rules. And we're doing a lot of things on the back end to think of ways to potentially provide some sort of experience for iOS users. But even before that, we plan on taking this to the web. So there'll be a web version of this at some point, where iOS users can potentially interact in some capacity. But natively, we're not sure what we can get pushed through. What's your name? Sorry.
John.
John. Nice to meet you.
By chance, are you partnering with apps so that way they push your product to get people to make reviews on their app? You're kind of looking at that route too.
Yeah, we are. In fact, we started curating apps. I mean, we call them apps, but really there's people and companies behind those apps. So what we're trying to do is create a content marketing strategy around sort of promoting their story. And by those means, we hope that those developers will then be early adopters and encourage their users to join our platform. For the simple reason that if one user has, let's say, 50 friends, that the second that they tap that app, it goes, potentially viral. So 50 of the friends will see it. Whether or not they install their app is, it's a different story, but the impression is there. Where on an app store, it really doesn't exist.
Have you thought about maybe partnering with people who make launchers on Android and having your actual app packaged in as the app store inside of their launcher? Because there are a lot of launchers that change a lot of the interface for Android, and I've seen them package in like alternate app stores.
Yeah. So part of our strategy too is, so that's a good point. So the answer is yes. We have, but we're also looking at ways to potentially create an sort of an invisible version of the app. So it would literally run in the background. So imagine you have your normal home screen and then being able to swipe right, for instance, and then see some of the icons already preloaded for apps that you don't have that your friends have. That's one way. The other way is to allow developers, give developers some sort of API or some sort of hook into our platform so that their users, rather than share on Twitter, share on Facebook, their users can immediately tap the developer's app within their app, which will automatically make it go.
Do you have to enable special permissions upon install so that you can actually, because your guys are going to facilitate the downloads through the App Store, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is there any special permissions that you have to enable
No.
to get yours to work? No? Yeah, okay.
Right now, it's simply using Google Play.
My name's Jake. So the App Store functions off of like this power law of there's maybe 1 million apps in the App Store, and yet this small percentage, let's say 10 to 20 apps, really make up the bulk of downloads, and it dramatically tiers off from there, with the majority of apps having very low installs. How do you ensure that my profile and your profile and all of our profiles don't just highlight those 10 apps that are really popular, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and yet the whole idea is discovery? How do you ensure that there's a diversity of apps being highlighted?
That's a good point. We wanted, so that was an issue that came up even with our MVP, which is where if you go in there now, I would say the first 10 or 15, even within when you filter back and forth, there's still Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, the main ones. Then once you start going sort of beneath that, then you start seeing apps that you really never seen before, which is the point of it, right? So initially, in order to sort of to create value, that's not like, oh, it's the same stuff, right? We plan on either having influencers curate special lists for their users, or us ourselves have some sort of screen somewhere, or integrate some of those apps into the feed, into that initial home feed that you saw. So it's definitely, I could see that.
And one other question is, how do you compare this to Product Hunt? You mentioned Product Hunt. I love Product Hunt. It's a great way to discover the latest and greatest. It has that FOMO built into it where I'm terrified that I'm going to miss the latest app. How do you guys plan on differentiating yourselves from that?
Right, so Product Hunt is if you guys don't know it, it's a discovery tool, but you discover products, it could be a physical product as well as an app. So one is, obviously, we're just apps, but two is, I know like 3 people on Product Hunt that I know, and I don't know anybody else, so I don't really trust anyone. So our platform is based on trust. You only really get the recommendations of people you follow. So it's really, the choice is up to you who you follow, and because we layer the social component to it, it's really your friends, people that influence you, that drive the kind of, like you say, fear of missing out. It's a lot more social in that regard.
Cool.
Is there going to be like some sort of rating system built within the platform, or you're just going to go off the rating system that's built off of, like Google, for example, Google Play, how they have the ratings and people are able to say how they really feel about that?
So we don't believe in the rating system, so you'll notice it's non-existent. So basically what we've done is we've either heart it, you love it or you don't. And that's what our platform is based on. And that's how we're trying to weed out, what our users perceive as good apps as opposed to not good apps. And I mean, I think I had a slide somewhere that showed an actual review from the Google Play Store that said meh, M-E-H. And it was like 3 stars. Like, I don't even know what that means. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of garbage that's on the Google Play Store currently. And I know Apple's done things to improve, their comments and ratings, but it's people that you don't know. trust. So ours is based off of people you trust.
So what process, how did you connect with DeMarcus Cousins and get him to be an influencer on your platform? Or did you connect with someone in his organization?
No, that was hypothetical.
Oh, that's hypothetical.
Yeah. If anyone knows them, though, send them my way.
We'll have to change it to Buddy Heald or something.
Yeah.
As a user of this, like, can you maybe just in a short, phrase or a couple sentences, just tell me like what problem is this really solving for me?
Well, we see it as one is app discovery, but as we're going through this process, and I'm being candid here, as we're even through the accelerator, is they tell you defining pain points, and we're noticing that while we see it as discovery, the fact that there's only half an app a download a month says that people just aren't downloading a lot of apps. So what we're trying to do is create an alternate marketplace. And I think over time our goal is for you never to go to the App Store. It's to simply come here. So I don't have a full answer other than it's discovery, but we're still trying to define what those.
But why do I need to discover? Why do I need to discover a new app?
It's fair.
I mean, from a like you have to get somebody to download this to discover new apps. Like, why would I download your app to discover more apps? Like, what pain am I feeling that makes me go? Like, that's why. So, product hunt for me is that fear of missing out. Like, that's the driver for me.
Yeah.
So, I'm just curious if you've thought much about
We have.
what that pain is.
We're trying to refine what that is and how to communicate that currently.
So I think if you can drive that home, it'll help you convert more people to sign up.
Other questions? So I have a question or a comment.
Sure.
I would say most of the apps that I download are because someone I know has it and showed it to me, or I read an article about it. Sometimes it's based on need, like, dang, I need an app to do this. So I could see the benefit of this if I want to. Is there a feature like, 3 of your friends just downloaded this app that, like, I get emails from Eventbrite telling me that 3 of my friends just registered for a particular event, something like that. But I would see that as sort of addressing the FOMO thing, like to get some kind of notification that a certain app is trending or a couple people have downloaded it to get me to go in and check out what that app does.
So the answer is yes. That's part of the whole alerts thing. Obviously, there's not enough time to show all that, but yeah. So just a lot like Instagram, people you follow, you can turn alerts on or off. You can say post notifications on. Basically, what that would do is when your friend or friends that you choose install a new app, you'll get an alert saying, Joe just installed 1 million cups app, right? So you would get those constant notifications. But we are also exploring ways to how the alert system would work in general, whether that's when something's trending or when you choose that it's, to get alerts from certain people, that sort of thing. But that home screen initially also has sort of what's trending.
So Pokemon Go would have broken the app, right? Notifications.
As a professional, I'm driven by competition, and I want to know what the next guy is using.
Yep.
And in my line of work, we use our cell phones more and more often instead of the traditional reference manuals and stuff we used to use back in the day. So, is there a way to use your app for me to look up, like maybe some people in my field and say, well, what kind of apps are they using in the area of work that we're in? Maybe like you said, the influencers.
Yeah.
So maybe categorize the influencers. Like if I want to work out and I know some people who are bodybuilders or athletes, I can kind of go list of athletes and go, okay, well, what is such and such using for his supplement app or for his workout app? And that way I can kind of narrow down and pinpoint on a more, not social basis, but competitive basis to know, well, what are the top guys using on their phone for this particular area?
Yeah,
that
no,
would-
we're definitely looking at ways to introduce better filtering and categorization
That's what,
of apps. I think initially it might be pretty simple, meaning I can see sports apps and then you can filter between people that you follow and just in general. But that's a start. But we realize that, you know, as this thing develops, that there can be other ways as well. We're even looking into possibly doing some sort of LinkedIn integration as well.
yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Last question. Did you have a question?
I was just gonna give a recommendation of someone that's working on platforms and building apps and stuff. What we figured out is one of the most important things. You're trying to basically build a community within your phone. And so what we figured out is one of the best things for something like that is engagement and conversations. So conversations are very important. So be able to just send somebody a really simple message, you know what I mean? It gives somebody a reason to open the app again. If somebody was to send something to somebody else within this app, you know, hey, blah, 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 you're giving that person another reason to open up their app again because they're going to be looking for a reply.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so on this page here, this is the LifeSum app. This is one that we've curated. If you were to scroll, and I can show you after if you want. Show you. See if it's kind of what you're thinking. If I scroll down, there's comments, just like there is on an Instagram post. You could actually mention, tag people, just like you do on Instagram. Just like you would if you were sending them.
Okay,
Right, so you can select, or it could be a group. I'm going to send this to these people, right? Let's see something. So you could do that whether you send the app or whether you just want to make comments. And then even furthermore, LifeSum could become a verified page owner of this profile. And then LifeSum can actually go on here, which is another thing I didn't have time for. Can actually go on here and interact with the community as well, which adds value, which does not exist on Facebook.
Thank you, Charlie.